What is feminism? Feminism is the advocacy of women's rights to achieve equality. Egyptian feminism emerged in the late 19th century and early 20th century. The leaders of the movement were upper-class women. The goals of these women were for humanitarianism and educational purposes. Egyptian women initiated social welfare and philanthropic opportunities to move up the social scale. Egyptian women used writing and public actions to express their point of views and let their voices be heard. Egyptian women organizations brought momentous changes in women's employment, health, education, and social service, and public roles. One of the ladies who took charge to bring notable change to women equality was Doria Shafiq. Doria was born December 14, 1908, in Tanta, Egypt. She was born into a middle-class family in Egypt. She was the second daughter of 6 children. She moved in with her grandmother to attend a prestigious school called Notre Dame d'Apostles School. Her mother died when Doria was just 12 years old, leaving a massive void, said in her memoir. Such a day remains in my memory as a profound and incurable trauma, a wound so huge that it marked with its desolation the whole of my life. She flourished in Alexandria. She finished school and wanted to learn more, which was not common. Most women were already married. In her memoir, she said, "If I were to have a career, I decided it would be a brilliant career." She became the youngest person in Egypt to obtain the French baccalaureate just at the age of 16. She received a scholarship from the Egyptian Ministry of Education to pursue her studies at the Sorbonne in Paris, with the support of Hoda Hanam being an upper-class lady working on social rights for women, who was also Doria's mentor. Doria began her studies in Sorbonne during August of 1928. Paris opened up a whole new world for Doria, a new world of ideas, philosophy, and the role of women in society. These ideas all began to take root in Doria at this time, and she began to develop and understand the issues that would dominate her life from this point on. She had to leave France in July of 1932 to acquire application for a new scholarship in Egypt. Upon her return to Egypt, Doria spent 3 years there. While in Egypt, she entered the Miss Egypt beauty pageant, which was frowned upon by many of her peers and the press, but she still entered as a young Muslim lady. Doria says, "In Paris, I asserted myself in the intellectual sphere. Now I want to assert myself in the feminine sphere." Doria married a journalist named Ahmed. The marriage only lasted a few months. Doria quickly removed herself from the marriage, promising not to remarry again. Getting a new scholarship, Doria returned to Paris in 1936 to undertake a doctorate in philosophy. Doria's priorities were to focus on her studies and further developing her ideas and views in life. France in the 30s was ultimately the place to be. The city of new ideas, art, culture, and literature. Paris was a mix of everything. Paris had the young American writers such as Gertrude Stein, and it was home to many notable avant-garde artists. Ideas coming from the East, such as Russia. Poets and writers were also having an impact with their movement. For example, André Breton, Paul Allard were on everyone's lips. Doria was maturing intellectually in a place and time of major cultural change. This was exactly what she needed. While in Paris, Noor al-Din Raghi, a cousin, who would soon become Doria's husband of 31 years, had moved to Paris to pursue his doctorate in commercial law. The couple married in 1937. Noor al-Din was confident, charming, relaxed, sure of himself, and his place in the world. These were all traits that young Doria were attracted to, who was still searching for a place and role in the world. In her memoir, Doria said, "Knowing that in Egypt, and only in Egypt, would my future be played out, such a marriage will help me adapt to the conditions of my country. It was my best chance at reconciliation with Egypt, and without dwelling further on the difficulties that our marriage would inevitably involve, I accepted this new adventure." Doria and Noor al-Din went to have 2 girls, Aziza, born in March of 1942, and Jahan, born in August of 1944. After 31 years of marriage, the couple divorced in 1968. Upon return to Egypt, she tried to join Hoda Hanam Feminist Union, but was blocked by the members in the union due to her closeness of relationship to Hoda. She would also try to obtain a job where she was refused a teaching opportunity at the Cairo University for being too modern. Doria Shafiq wrote an influential paper dedicated to Princess Shafiqah, the first wife of King Fuad, who was active in the realm of charity and good works. Unknowingly, this would propel Doria towards the role she had always been looking for. The princess read the book and proposed her with an offer to edit a new culture and literary magazine. Even though she had no work experience in this field, she was hesitant at first in taking the job, but soon she decided to become the editor-in-chief of La Femme Nouvelle. By taking on the position, Doria was living the motto she wrote for herself years ago. to know, to be able, to want, to dare. Doria began to receive heavy criticism because she was working under a French publication with the princess, who was thought to be out of touch with the issues of her country, so Doria decided to make an Arabic magazine. In 1945, Bint al-Nil, or Daughters of Nil, was launched. The magazine was for middle-class women. It focused on nutrition, health information, advice on parenting, and women issues. The magazine was meant for the awakening of middle-class women to want to aim for women equality. In 1947, with the death of her mentor, Nam, Doria started taking a fresh new look onto women's issues and national issues and began her militant phase. She took up the issue of women not being able to be in parliament. She wrote, "What capable hands can rouse them out of their sleep, if not those of women? What heart is more susceptible to sympathizing with the sufferings of women, if it is not her heart of a woman? Women must not be only present when laws concerning them are legislated, they must be involved in writing them." By demanding the totality of her rights, particularly her political rights, which are the basis of all rights, the women could bring in fundamental changes in society. Doria decided to pursue these issues by establishing the Bint al-Nil Union, that she launched as a successor to Hoda Shari's Feminist Union. She transferred Bint al-Nil into a movement that was related to liberation of women to be a larger political struggle. From here emerged the linkage of democracy to social justice to social development. Doria began to have a more political agenda. She then came up with the idea of protesting the streets. February 19th, 1951, Doria, with nearly 1,500 women by her side, stormed the Egyptian parliament. For 4 hours of demonstrations followed until the president of the Senate received immediate attention. Those demands included granting women the right of vote, to run for parliament, allowing women to participate in national struggle for independence and politicals in general, to have the personal status law reformed by setting limitations on polygamy and divorce, and equal pay for equal work. Following the protests, Doria was charged with the crime of lodging the petition in the parliament. After the protests and charges, she became the international celebrity. After the revolution in Egypt, Doria decided to turn the Bint al-Nil party into a political party. Egypt now making a constitution which women involvement was not allowed, Doria decided to go on a hunger strike in which other ladies from the Bint al-Nil party decided to participate. Egypt decided to compromise with Doria. The president of Egypt sent in a letter of commitment ensuring women's rights. The hunger strike ended after 8 days, becoming a national commitment. Doria said the Constitution doesn't clearly define complete rights of women. The promise of women's political rights doesn't even exist in the text of the Constitution. My primary duty is to take an uncompromising stand concerning the totality of women's political rights. Doria challenged Nasser's government to clearly lay out the rights of women in the Constitution and take the issues facing women seriously. Her reasons were simple. If women had to register on an electoral list and men did not, this was unjust and illegal. Even with the compromise of women not being allowed to vote, Doria still did not agree with the Constitution. Even though her efforts for women equality was largely credited in the new Constitution, Nasser, Egypt's second president, was not fond of Doria and her movement. The reputation of his Nasser regime was such that she put Doria on house arrest. The Bint al-Nil Union expelled Doria, the founder of the union, from the organization. Her magazines were shut down, her personal papers and files were destroyed, and her name was officially banned from the press. Whatever support and sympathy Doria had gone over for the decades, had quickly slipped away as people feared the repercussions of any association with her. Due to the house arrest, Doria was forced into permanent seclusion at the age of 48 for 18 years. During her confinement, she turned to a love of writing and poetry. Her confinement later led to her suicide in 1975. Doria's impact is currently hardly known in the world today, and Egypt is slowly erasing her from their history. Doria Shafiq was a woman who filled the world with noise and declarations, she upon whom the world's lights were directed wherever she went. She was a star of European and Egyptian societies. People forgot her charge into parliament, demanding the right to vote. They forgot her hunger strike in 1954 for the rights of women. And they forgot she lost her freedom and her magazines, her money, and her husband because she demanded human rights for the Egyptian women. She paid a horrible price for her resistance when other people gave up. She paid a horrible price for her boldness when all those around her quivered in fear.
You don't own me. I'm not just one of your many toys. You don't own me. Don't say I can't go with other boys.